You're listening to Nothing's Off the Table, the podcast where no subject is too taboo to discuss. Now, please welcome your hosts, Andy Barker and Lou Del Pree. So, there I was, just about ready to welcome our guest, and lo and behold, we don't have a guest.
Backed out.
Again. That's all right.
Backed out.
All I'm saying is just a little common courtesy. Just reply with an email saying, hey, sorry, I can't make it. No big deal.
How you doing, Andy?
I'm doing good, man. After the initial frustration of yet another no-show, I'm good, man. I'm real good. I took a little bit of, Doc Barker's special medication, and now I'm right as rain.
Sounds good. Hey,
So,
I
yeah,
had
go
something
ahead.
interesting, and I was going to ask you your thoughts on it. This week, my daughter came back wanting to participate in the musical Fame. Or no, they were going to go watch the neighbor, their friend, who's in the musical Fame. And my wife was asking me if I knew about it, and I said, "Of course I know." But I don't know if I ever shared this with you, Andy. That is one of my favorite movies, the one from the 1980s, Fame.
Really?
Yeah, I love that movie. I think that's a great movie. I think I think there are movies and films. I put that in the film category.
Fair. Yeah, I like that. I wouldn't say it was my favorite, but I did like that movie.
Yeah. Definitely one of my favorites in my top 5. Like The Natural, Fame. Movies I would watch over and over. Irene Cara, I think, is an amazing singer.
For sure.
Very underrated, in my opinion. I mean, she got accolades. Don't get me wrong. But I think she should have been picked for more projects, and definitely should have done more stuff.
She probably didn't want to sell her soul to the devil.
Right. So I broke out. 'Cause my old lady didn't believe I knew about it. I broke out the VHS, and I brought it up, and I said, "Of course I know about it. I said, it's one of my favorites. I have it on VHS." And she goes, "Oh my god!"
Wow.
Did
you get cool points for that, or?
I did get cool points for that. I did get cool.
Excellent.
Now rewind. I don't know if I told you this one, but my daughter brought a VHS for show and tell.
Oh no.
Yeah. Even the
wow.
teacher was like, "Wow."
Damn.
She got an extra credit for actually having it.
You're so old.
Yeah, right. All right. Well, I'm the only one I'm a pack rat. I probably, I'm a pack rat. I really, this has sentimental value. The last time I watched a VHS was probably 5 years ago. I tried to show my daughter the Star Wars: A New Hope, and I was like, oh, you know what? Let's go back to the old archives and let's watch it. Let's watch it from the beginning.
Wow.
But it didn't. She didn't like Star Wars at all. Was not captured by the story. So that was probably the last time.
The old Star Wars, or like
Yeah,
1977?
So I was a sucker, and I have 3 versions of the box set, right? Each one the last time you'll be able to get. Like this is the last time it'll be available. Then 2 years later, this has special footage, and is the last time it'll be.
I can see you falling for that.
Oh yeah, man! I've got the ones with the digital editing for the VHS. Here, let's see. Here's one dusty box set. These are with the George Lucas interviews in the beginning.
Those are the best movies, man, in my opinion. The rest of the franchise, whatever. I really couldn't care less about it.
Here was the original box set.
Oh wow, yeah.
And then here was the last time, the second last time you'll ever get VHS box set, the second to last time.
But it's gold. It's a gold box.
Yeah, right. And had they not come out with DVD, there'd probably be a 5th and 6th one back there too.
Oh, I'm sure. But, I almost guarantee there would be.
So, let's get back to Fame, right? And the interesting thing that I noticed, and this was true about another movie. So, can we watch it? Is what my wife said, and I said, absolutely not. And she's like, why not? I said, way inappropriate for a 10-year-old. She's like, but it's PG. I was like, that's right. PG in the 80s was when parents actually guided children.
The hell you say?
So they had a little more in there, than usual. So if you
Wow.
watch Barbarella, you could see Jane Fonda's boobs in the beginning,
Oh
naked.
yeah. Oh yeah.
Yeah, and that's PG.
I was on HBO for a while there, man. And you know how the loop is with HBO.
Oh
So
yeah.
I can't tell you how many times I had to make sure I got it right there, right
Oh, I
on
know.
time to watch that.
It's in the crate. You got to get there. But same thing though with Fame. It's PG. But there's
Right.
a girl who gets pregnant out of wedlock, right, and ruins her life. There are thieving. There's drugs. There's smoking. It's all over.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's 1980s PG. So I had to tell her no. Very inappropriate for a kid. Very inappropriate. And she said, "What about the new version?" I was like, "Yeah, now you don't bring that up."
Don't bring that up.
That's like when I showed a friend of mine at my when I was on the Constitution, I offered to buy lunch at the galley for the upper staff, upper age staff. The quiz was I played "We Are the World" one time for you, and you had to write down as many musicians as you remember.
That's tough, man.
So our CO nailed it with he got I think 15 or 20, 21 or
Damn.
22 I think. The next closest was the senior chief, he got 12. I can only name 10.
Yeah, I don't know if I could name that many, man.
Yeah, take that challenge if you can. It's really fun. First of all, it's a good song. It's got a great story behind it. Really funny.
Yeah.
Really funny things happened.
So,
It's crazy things happened.
the,
And
hold
it's
on.
a trip down memory lane.
Now I can't not think about it. So we got the boss, right?
Yeah.
Michael Jackson, Huey Lewis, Cyndi Lauper, Bananarama,
I
George.
you'd have
What's
to
that?
show me. You have to show me Bananarama.
Okay, they're three hot blonde chicks, but
Were they in it? Maybe they were in it, yeah.
yeah, they were totally in it. George Michael, Lionel Richie, I believe, was in it. Boy George.
Two of Michael's brothers were in it. Marlon was in it.
Yep.
I think Tito.
No, Latoya was not in that one.
Janet, maybe. Um,
Maybe.
you had to because I have to watch it. I have to watch it, and then I'm like,
Yeah, Bob Dylan.
Bob Dylan. So apparently, Bob Dylan was like a not like kind of a douche,
I could see that.
like he wanted to come in and like get it done and get out of there and everything, or be in there by himself or something. I don't know. He came in and I forget who was saying it, but they were interviewing Huey Lewis, and he said, "Oh, Paul Simon." He said Paul Simon leaned over and said, "Oh man, if this thing gets hit by a bomb, John Denver's on top." He said as soon as he walked in, man, he was like, "Shit."
That's hilarious, man.
Yeah, man. Just
What's up, Bear? Bear joins us in the room
yeah,
tonight.
it was just funny, man. But oh, hey, Bear. Hey, so we were just talking about 1980s PG versus today's PG, and just how there was far more adult content in that 1980s PG rating. But yeah, so that was the conversation with my wife. I did tell her no, Fame is a little too big of a concept. And the new Fame, I have no idea, and I will never know.
Yeah, I will never watch that either.
No, you can't, dude. They're coming out with a new Roadhouse.
Yeah, I know. It's got what, Jake Gyllenhaal in it or
Sure.
something, and yeah. Why? It just goes to show there's no more original ideas in Hollywood.
Are there no more original ideas in Hollywood, or are they just trying to grab our money because we're the ones with the money?
That too.
We're the ones who saw it. We're the ones with it. Like when A-Team and all that stuff came out, that's when I was in my 30s, when I was supposed to be the demographic, right? So there, I mean, but then you remake the A-Team and you don't remake Airwolf.
Yeah, come on. Good evening, Mr. Spencer and Mr. Bruce.
2 weeks, by the way, 2 days ago was Airwolf's 40th anniversary pilot. Like
Really?
came out 40 years ago. Yeah, I think this week. I think this week was the anniversary. They had a bunch of little promo spots floating around social media, like the original TV Guide ad, all that stuff. Stringfellow Jan Michael Vincent,
Yeah.
the horrible alcoholic. They
Oh
had to
my
replace.
God, that guy was bad.
Yeah. Oh man, these stories are legendary, man. Just legendary about not being able to say lines. Just
I watched
wrecked.
E's True Hollywood story about him, and so of course that had to be true because it was yeah, you're muted. I don't know if you knew that or not. But anyway, I didn't know Conor McGregor was going to be in the new Roadhouse either. I'll probably wait till that comes out and it's completely free before I
Yes,
even entertain
100%.
watching it.
I'm good with a made-for-TV version formatted to fit your screen.
Yeah,
I could miss that inch on the right and inch on the left. I'm okay with that.
yeah, me too. Me
But
too.
so this I'm still waiting for the $6 billion man.
Oh
That's
yeah,
supposed to be Mark Wahlberg. The script and everything is all done.
really?
Yeah, everything's all done. Jim Carrey tried to buy it and make a spoof, but the owners were like, no, no. And so Mark Wahlberg was going to make it, and then he signed on to some other projects, and then some things. You know how like these, I guess these projects get rolling, and then people get sucked up into other stuff.
Yeah.
Um, but
Yeah,
it's supposedly inching its way forward.
I don't have a desire to see that.
I
I went
would.
back
I loved
maybe
it.
maybe about a year ago, and I think it was maybe Tubi that I found it on,
Uh huh.
and I started watching it.
Uh huh.
It does not hold up.
You don't think so?
No, I couldn't. I had to
Okay.
stop, man. I couldn't get through it.
The first three seasons for me held up. When I got sick and I was stuck at home, I ordered the DVDs. But we are a little, I am a little younger, so it might have been more amazing to me.
Maybe, yeah.
Which is why it stuck with me. When I saw it, I was like, oh, I remember that. Yeah, throw them.
Hey, Mark, what's happening? The $6 Million Man. I went back and I watched it, like I said, about a year ago, and I couldn't get through it. It didn't hold up at all for me.
Yeah, that Greatest American Hero I tried, and I was like,
Yeah, that was
it was
yeah,
cringe. Airwolf. Now I went back and watched the pilot on Tubi, and I was like, okay, okay.
yeah.
I was in. I enjoyed it. I enjoyed it. I didn't care that it looked old. I didn't care the tech looked old. It was still pretty awesome. Like dun, 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 that helicopter coming over and blowing that thing up.
It
I was
was a
like, this is
cool
pretty cool.
show, man.
It's pretty cool, man.
And I
And then they had the
think
motorcycle Street Hawk.
I don't remember that.
Yeah, motorcycle Street Hawk. That lasted 6 episodes, I think.
Carl? Who else was at your house? Carl made a comment in the room that says, "This is awkward being in here with two gay guys. What's up, fellas?" I'm just trying to figure out who else is in his house right now.
I'm reclaiming that word. I'm very jovial and happy.
Yeah, I agree. You are gay.
That's right.
So
I'm a fag. I'm one of those forward action guys. I used to say to people when they talk about telling war stories, like, man, let me tell you something, man. When I was in Iraq and we received the supplies and there was so many and it was hot and I had to unload the truck and I'm like, oh man, you were one of the forward action guys. Damn right, I was forward action guy.
they don't get it.
They don't
They
think.
don't get it. Brian brings up a great point. Any medical issues makes you a $6 million man.
That's right.
Yeah,
I just got
it's
done telling somebody it's Motrin from the waist up and foot powder from the waist down, which is crushed Motrin. We make the E3s do at night.
factual, extremely factual. We should make our own YouTube channel. Wait, no, we shouldn't. Anyway, he said, "Sorry, I was meaning to send it to my two friends in here with me."
That's right.
So Mark's got us on his phone streaming and playing Cyberpunk, being nerdy as hell.
Oh
Get
man,
to
that's
inter-
all good. Mark,
yeah.
I've been playing Armor Reforger. You got to check that out, man.
Get to interview an actor. Oh, cool, man. Very nice. So I had the privilege of being a guest on Mark's show, and it's great because they talk about movies, but they horror genres is very popular with them, and I was way out of my element, man.
Yeah, that's my worst. I don't
But
know
I
anything.
but I had fun though. It was still a good conversation.
Yeah.
I just couldn't contribute a whole lot of depth to specific movies and whatnot.
I'm a fan of like Seven, like movies where like people
Oh
could
yeah,
do it, but
yeah,
I'm not a fit like when I like Friday the 13th. I'm like, oh, now he's in front again.
right. Just shoot him, get it over with.
He could have cut her head off right there. What's he waiting for? It is
Right,
ridiculous.
right. Carl, yes, Lou is a corpsman as well.
So I find them unbelievable. Like, isn't this crazy? I have this conversation with a lot of people because I do watch a lot of movies, as you can tell behind me and stuff. But I don't watch horror because I find it unbelievable, but I will watch somebody in air ninja kick 12 people in one jump, and be like, "That is awesome!
Because that's
I could do
totally
that with training and
realistic.
sustainment."
Right. Wow. Mark says he thinks it ended up being one of their most listened to episodes. That's
And that's
cool,
why he's
man.
not paid to think. No, wait, I'm just kidding.
Oh, you know Mark also? I mean,
No, no.
hey,
Hey,
Mark, did you move recently? I thought I saw something maybe that you were moving or something. Maybe it's just the voices in my head. I don't know. But anyway, yeah, so $6 million man wouldn't do it for me. I wouldn't be interested in it. Airwolf would be cool. Knight Rider, not so much. Although I heard,
I did enjoy the new Knight Rider.
I never watched it. Never watched a single episode of it. Did y'all see the movie Obama helped produce, Leave the World Behind? I'm gonna have to give you a hard no on that one. I
No,
did
I
not.
let others watch it. Yeah,
I didn't even know. I didn't know anything about it.
yeah, it's very progressive, you know,
Oh,
cell
right up
phones,
my alley,
dystopian
right?
type
Ugh.
film. America's sucks.
The Great Satan. We're all evil.
Yeah.
Yeah, whatever. But speaking of evil, did you see where Trump has to pay like some ridiculous? They found him guilty again.
Of course, dude. There is a large segment of this country that thinks Justice Brett Kavanaugh and Justice Amy Coney Barrett are gonna save us. Okay, like they truly believe these people are gonna save us. Okay, Amy Coney Barrett just voted against right Texas sealing its border. Right,
Mhm.
just voted. Just gave the majority to the Dem. Right, Kavanaugh unreliable. Right, they spent all their capital on Roe.
Yeah,
And now
yeah.
now they're just out in the wind, man. But there's a large portion of the population that thinks that is banking on betting on those justices when their record is terrible, right? And I know, no, it's four-dimensional chess. Okay, all right, sure, yeah. But at the end of the day, I think when you dial it back to what you were talking about, with him having to pay those sums, it's not going to stop. It's not.
No,
It's not going to stop. And Coney Barrett and Brett Kavanaugh are not going to help.
no. It's. I'm telling you, there's no way. I had this discussion with Ryan. You haven't met Ryan, but he's the co-host for the Nostalgically Hip podcast,
Mhm.
and there is no way. It's either by hook or by crook, but there's no way he's going to get back in office. Whether it comes down to they put him in jail, or they go back to cheating, whether he's assassinated. I mean, there's just no way. I just think if the writing's already on the wall, they're telling you everything they're doing anyway, and the fact that these proceedings are even going forward, this is turning into a banana republic, man.
Well, yeah, yeah. Look, I used to talk to our mutual buddy, and I always said, and I don't know if this is true or not. This is all conspiracy theory, but on my part. But I was like, I wonder if they're pushing Trump, right? Doing all these things to promote Trump, like indicting Trump. They knew every time they took an action against Trump, they promoted,
Right.
right? Did they have internal polling saying he's not popular? Are they just showing polling saying he is, but their internal polling is saying Biden's winning, right?
It's a
Because and the
possibility.
only reason I thought that was because I was like, well, why would you do that? Like, why would you purposely get him there? And the only explanation I could think of was they have polling that says what they're telling us is not true, because
Hmm.
there is a large portion of suburban women that still hate him, right?
Oh yeah.
Like you saw as soon as Ron DeSantis dropped out, and it was between him and Nikki Haley, all the headlines started coming out: bleeding support, dropping numbers, right? All these things. Um,
But how much of that's propaganda too? You muted yourself. I don't know why you muted yourself. He's
so I
got
could
a
tell my
fart.
so I could tell my alarm to be quiet.
Oh, I thought you were
It
farting
started
or
going off
something.
in the background, so I had to yell Ziggy. Um, anyway, but
But what
yeah,
do you think? Do you think he's got a shot?
I think he could win. I think he could. Here's what I think. I think it doesn't matter. Agents of Chaos will win regardless,
Well,
because
yeah, that's what
if
I'm
you
saying.
if what they want is, you take Trump off the ballot, right? He loses. All his supporters are going to flip out and say the election was stolen, right? Violence
Oh
in the
yeah.
streets. You 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 let's say he does win, right? The BLM's not going to sit down and take that. You have a federally indicted. There's a large portion of the population that believes that.
Mhm.
Okay, there are 91 felony counts, and then my understanding is the documents case is pretty legit. I mean, yeah, they've never done it to anyone else. Okay, but I mean, in your life, how many times has everyone else is doing it been a valid defense for you? Okay. 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 So do you understand why when you say everyone else is doing it, yeah, the people who support you are like, that's right. And the people who don't are like, uh,
Hello.
you wouldn't accept that from your kid.
Right.
I'm not saying you're saying that. All I'm saying is it looks like the documents case could be legit. I mean, and the rest of it though is probably going to be trash or turned around. But I mean, you have a federally indicted guy, 91 counts, 91 charges. They're not going to stop. I mean, so
No.
if he gets in, there's a large portion of the population that's going to be like, hey, are you kidding me? You put a felon in? Are you kidding me? And there's going to be violence from that side. So I think we have been set up for chaos. I think we played right into it. We played right into that. I mean, how many people do you know? I know people who've told me Donald Trump is in the Bible. Okay? I
Oh
can
my
point to one.
God.
I can point to one specifically. I know exactly who to point to, and the people who know will know,
Are
right? But
you serious?
they believe he's the one. He's the one that's being referenced, right? So I know somebody like that.
As
I know
the
somebody else.
Antichrist?
No, but I know somebody else who feels like we owe him. He's sacrificed so much for us and everything. Okay, I could maybe see that argument, but man, I don't know about O. I don't know about O. And I wasn't I wasn't too happy. I'm a DeSantis supporter, okay, and I'm a
Mm.
Trump supporter. You can support both. Both can be true at the same time, right? I think both are far superior to Joe Biden, so I'll absolutely vote for Donald Trump. But I would have picked DeSantis in the primary because if you had DeSantis in the primary, none of what's happening now would be happening. None of it.
You're right.
Trump being on trial, more indictments, felony things, slipping in the polls, also none of it would be on television right now. None of it. It would be all about DeSantis and how he's some type of corporate whore or something.
Right. Right.
But there would be no E. Carroll crap, right? There are people who believe, there are people who say, you have a jury who found it true, so it is true, right?
Well, when you've got the judge that won't allow
I know.
specific
I know.
evidence, it's a
Yeah.
witch hunt, is
That's
what
you
it
and I.
is.
Yeah, that's you and I. You and I agree. But we're dealing with a group of people that think the ends justify the means. They've said it
Right.
many times.
Oh yeah.
They have said it many times,
Well, we've
right?
said it
With
many
with with the
times that,
Brett Kavanaugh rape accusation, when they outed the false accuser, she said, "Well, I did it for Roe."
right. They will tell you what they're doing. You just gotta listen. Hey, look, it's
Yeah.
so cute. We got somebody in there that thinks that we're gonna be upset with them talking shit. But go away, little boy. But Mark, I think you've got a great point. I think we are possibly watching the end of the U.S. as we know it, as we've known it all our lives. Unfortunately, I would argue there really isn't any better options right now. I'd like if he picked that Kennedy guy to be his
Like I
VP.
said, I thought DeSantis was a better option for sure. I mean, he had proven things in Florida. I mean, he's the only one right now who's Surgeon General has formed a commission, and he's expecting a report in the next month that may recommend charges on the vaccine.
Huh. Interesting.
So I mean, he's doing things and scoring. I mean, he's handed Disney their ass.
Yeah, I am definitely a DeSantis supporter. I don't have any issues with him.
Yeah. Now I don't like his stance on marijuana. I don't
I
like
don't
his.
either.
Yeah, I'm pretty sure. I haven't seen his position on it, but I'm pretty sure the two most un-American things I believe in, both Donald Trump, hugely supports and defends, and I find it to be the most un-American thing in the world, is eminent domain and
Oh
civil asset
yes.
forfeiture. I think those are the two most unconstitutional things ever, right? And I understand, I'm not a one issue voter, but
Right.
I'm just saying, if you were to tell me name one thing you don't like about Donald Trump, I would say eminent domain and civil asset forfeiture. I hate that. I hate that. I hate it. I hate the
I
fact that
am
you can have your cash taken at a traffic stop.
for sure. I am definitely not a toe the party line kind of guy. There's things I don't like about everybody, and there's things I actually can find agreement with everybody. Unfortunately, some of those agreements are just a little bit too little for my liking, and can't get behind the total package, if you know what I mean.
Yeah, I
Although
hear you. No, oh, go ahead.
I'm trying to think of, I'm just trying to think of something that I actually agree with Biden on. I'll get back to you next week.
Yeah, right. But I'll tell you, the comment in the room was that empires fall. That's true. Yeah, so as a student of history, yeah, absolutely, absolutely, they fall. And that's one thing I talked to a negative friend of mine. Like, oh, it's all effed. Everything's effed. The world's going to hell. Yeah, but something better always comes, right?
Yeah,
Something better always rises, right? They learn from their mistakes and they write it better and they make it better. So it just kind of sucks that it happens while you're here, and you have to watch it happen. But yeah, I mean, have faith that these things get better. Here's the other thing I have faith with too. You talk about empires falling. You know what else happens? These people that do this to us, like the Bill Gateses of the world, the Klaus Schwabs of the world, they and their kids get drug out and beheaded. That happens too. They get drug out, they get beaten in the streets, and they get beheaded because the people get tired of it. So as the empire collapse and the fat cats drink, they also get their heads cut off. So I always find solace in that. Like, I look at guys like Bill Gates and all these other people that are sitting in their $1 billion houses. Like, enjoy it, man. It's going to be $1 billion fucking, death march for you when when
that's
when the
right.
little people rise up, right? And I may be long gone, but here's something I've learned in life. I believe in karma.
Amen.
I don't have to be here to see it. I know it.
That's
I
right.
know if these people have ill will, you know, there will be a plague upon their house at some point. Now, in my younger days, I felt I had to be there, which is why I had a reputation of a busybody. Like, I need to be there. I need to see it come around. Maybe help
Right.
it along a little bit,
That's right.
right? But no, I mean, now I've just lived a long enough life, Andy, and I think you too. Where it comes around, man. When I have been good, I have received good.
For sure. And conversely, when I've been a shitheel, I've gotten I got my payback for it. That's for sure.
Yeah.
And well, we're just not going to go down that road tonight. But anyway, speaking of weird shit, how about I heard you've been watching some Skinwalker Ranch lately.
I have been watching, and as everybody here who listens to the show regularly, which is nobody, I I'm a believer in aliens, right? And just to clarify, I'm not a hey, there's lizard people here. I'm just a yeah. I wouldn't be surprised if I opened the newspaper in the morning and they were like life found on Venus. I'd be like, yeah. I mean, I subscribe to the Orson Welles theory, right? What if we are the only life, in the universe, my God, what a horrible waste of space, right?
Right,
Um,
right.
so I ascribe to that, right? I'm not like, oh, it's lizard people. So I get Skinwalker Ranch recommended to me. Um, in my retirement, I lived this amazing life of going to my local gas station twice a day. They give free coffee to veterans in the morning, and then in the evening, I get two diet sodas. And it's
Nice.
right, two different shifts I shoot the breeze with. So in the morning, we talk video games with the kids that work in the morning, like the young guys. Um, get my coffee, move on. In the evenings, it's the older guy who closes, who had been telling me about Skinwalker Ranch. So I had never heard of this. I go, it's on Hulu, I think, and some's on YouTube, I think.
Yeah, yeah.
Yeah. And
It was I believe it was Nat either Nat Geo or History
yeah,
Channel.
yeah,
That's what it
yeah,
was.
yeah,
History.
yeah. So there's a ranch in Utah that weird stuff happens. Been happening for a long time. The government sent a team there. Oh, well, people live there and then left and said they're never coming back. It's too weird.
Right.
Um, Lots of things happened over the land. The government had it for a while. and then a developer came in and bought it. Turns out the developer had an experience on the land early in his life, but now that he's mega, he bought it and put a private team in, fully funded. They got astrophysicists in there, doctors, the PhDs, the MDs. I mean, all kinds of equipment, all kinds of specialists come in for various testing and stuff. They call. Um, and for a couple of years now, they've been investigating this ranch. Right, Andy?
Yeah, it's fascinating. Before you go too deep in, I just want to say real
Yeah.
quick. Sure, it's a TV show, and I'm sure there are some scripted portions of it, but they've got legitimate scientists that are, very very well known in their field and respected, um, that are out there doing these legit experiments. And how do you fake it? I mean, you can't. But anyway, go ahead.
Um, so
Oh, bear.
Bear's asking if I have room for him in my doomsday bunker. I do not have a doomsday bunker. I have a pistol and a willpower to use it. So if someone else has one, let me know. We'll take theirs. But this Skinwalker Ranch is very interesting. They brought the science teams out. They brought the equipment out, and I think like Andy said, right? And Andy and I were talking about this ahead of time, and we got sidetracked, and I didn't really get a chance to answer. Yes, the first couple of episodes, I'm like, this is horrible. This is horrible. Right? Like the guy, the Asian guy that owns it. I forget his name. Um,
The Asian sensation.
yeah, he's terrible. He is terrible. Like he sounds script. He sounds like he's reading off a cue card, and he's having trouble with that. Right?
Yeah,
Right? It's like what
yeah,
he sounds like. And Brandon, the
yeah.
owner.
You can tell they're totally uncomfortable. You
When
know.
when the phone when they make phone calls in the first couple of episodes, it's terrible. It's terrible. Like he'll be like, "Hey, I just want you to know we found some cancer up on a rock here that killed a cow." And he'll be like, "That is fascinating. I never thought you would find something like that.
Did you see what Carl said in the room? He said,
Let's not do any digging."
"Right, yeah, we'll go there later." But
Yeah.
apparently, that's crazy. You can read the comment in the room yourself for Carl. But wow,
I did. I can read it for Carl New. So he says, "Bro, blanky not one night sitting out by the fire by the lake with blank looking for a weird stuff in the sky. I had a laser pointer and pointed out at what looked like a faint star. When I put the pointer down, the effing thing lasered back at us." Yeah. So that's the thing, right? There's things happening on TV that you're like, is this real? Because the dialogue is so bad,
right, right.
right?
It lends credibility from my standpoint simply because look, these guys clearly are not actors. It's
Yes.
painfully obvious.
Yes,
And if they
the
are,
dragon guy. I'm like
oh, that guy.
this. I'm like this guy would be.
How many guys have you known like that in the Navy, man?
I would have feel. I could just see him being a sick call commando. Just go. Are you get out of here, man? Get out of here. What the hell are you doing in here again?
Right, man. Again, bro. Seriously. Come on, don't you have your own bottle of Motrin now?
I'm really concerned that if we start digging, man, get in there, son. What are you talking about? If they start digging, where's your e-tool, man? You should have been digging every night. Like I'll tell you what, we'll put like 50 holes in there. We're gonna make some shit go down.
Yeah, right. So that's the thing, man. So explain that a little bit. They've got an area on the property that anytime somebody digs, any kind of digging, excavating, whatever the case may
Yeah.
be, weird stuff happens.
So they say that the ranch responds when you start digging on it. Like just stuff happens, and they have one of the workers there who did some excavating and ended up with a type of encephalopathy um, that they cannot explain. So he has an
Right.
injury that almost took his life with some swelling in an area where the doctors are like, "We this is so rare, like we don't like it. This is rare." But they
Completely
knew what to do.
verifiable. They show the images
Yeah.
on the
Show the images, show everything, verifiable. So when he gets headaches, he leaves the ranch right now. And then some of it's like you're like, this is so control. Like this like I don't know. Sometimes I'm like, oh, I have a headache. This was a slow night. Hey,
you,
hey, do the headache thing.
sometimes it kind of reminds me of in a way Reno 911.
Yeah, 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 yeah. Right. With whenever I see Dragon and that guy. Anyway, that's perfect example. But then but it's the scientists, right? And it's the experiments they run, and it's the things they do, and it's the stuff that happens, right? And here's what you have to ask yourself too now. Now the show had one departing they swapped out scientists, right? Due to personalities, right? So that guy would have absolutely the guy that left after the first season, the tall guy.
I'm trying to remember which guy that was.
Um, I can't remember his name either, but he has his own Twitter account. I followed his Twitter account. He verifies everything. I mean, he says they were there for that. Like people ask all the time because he left, right? So he doesn't have any
No ties
non-disclosures
or
or anything. You know
anything.
what I'm
Yeah.
saying? Like what they're up there doing is what they're doing. It's the phone calls and the thing about I forget who explained it when they were talking about reality TV is of course it's scripted because not everything gets caught in every way that's possible to show.
Right.
He's like, so we have to so it's based off a true story in many instances. But for whatever reason we didn't catch it at the right angle or there was no audio or you know what I mean? So he's like, so reality TV is written in reality. He's like, but yeah, a lot of times it's not, it's not real what you're seeing, but it's written in reality. Um,
Yeah.
so
I mean that makes sense.
yeah,
And if you're observant enough while you're watching the show, you can decipher between the real and the script.
yeah, probably if you watch them enough. I don't watch very many. I mean, I watch this now. But the thing is they're doing things in real time with equipment and they're hiring outside people to come in and do stuff. I mean, the
Right.
amount of cast that has come in here, if it was trash, it would have been out.
Yeah.
It
No,
would have
yeah,
been out.
I wasn't referring to reality
Right.
TV shows in general. I was referring specifically to this show. You can pick
Right.
it out.
Right. Yes, yes, yes. This show very easy. Yes, you're right. You're correct. Um and the thing I like I said, the thing I think about this show is you know the amount of people they bring in over the last two seasons, right? If this was nonsense to the non-believer, a person who's like, hey, you're getting scared. Okay, that's a lot of people. That is a lot of people to keep quiet. And
Right.
this has been going on for years now. Um,
Decades.
well, decades up on Skinwalker Ranch, but for their
Right.
research, right? Their
Oh
research has
yeah,
only been going on for a couple of years because of
at
the
least
show.
5.
But dude, I mean, it's phenomenal. There was one time they did a light maneuver and caused a UFO.
Oh yeah.
And then repeated it. This is in the first season. Then repeated it, brought it back. So they were able to duplicate it. They were all there, and they brought in this astrophysicist. And by the end of season one, the astrophysicist is like, "Look, man, I came in here and I was like, this is ridiculous. This is absurd. This is absurd." You know, he goes, "But I'm gonna tell you what, man." He goes, "After a year here, that's why we're having this meeting. And the last episode is a meeting with the Utah Attorney General to get permission to capture whatever they can or communicate with whatever they can to have the state of Utah's permission. So they're seeking legal protections to grab these like they believe enough. Now maybe that's theatrics, maybe it is. It's damn good theatrics though. To
Right.
get the attorney general on television of the state to authorize them to go ahead and capture whatever's that's the you go out there and capture something, you got him saying it's okay.
But he's not going to do that if there's not enough
That's what I'm saying. That's what I'm saying.
verifiable.
Yes.
He's not going to go on national TV and put himself out there like that.
And offer them that he just empowered them to communicate with or capture whatever they find.
Sure. Yeah, it's crazy, man. There's some weird shit happening, and believe or don't believe, but I mean, with the scientific experiment that they conducted, it's completely legit because it was repeatable.
Yes, yeah. They had the. I'm only on season 2. They had a rabbi do a prayer ceremony to bless the land. I mean, this is how thorough they're being. They're
Right.
taking all the legends and stories and trying to recreate the legends and stories. Right? They're like, we're going to take this apart piece by piece. So they brought a rabbi on to do a prayer ceremony and had an immediate thermal shift in temperature,
Hmm.
had an immediate, movement of things, right? And they had some equipment out there, so they were able to record the equipment and everything, right? And they recorded the rabbi's prayer. A week later, after they were able to analyze the data, went right back out, sent up speakers, played the rabbi's prayer again, only with double the amount of equipment to monitor, and repeated exactly what another polar vortex came out,
Hmm.
went up, superheated inside the house, separated from everything else, and then they had something run across.
That's
That was
so
the time they
crazy,
had something
man.
run across, and they were like, they show it in the thermal, a cold, like it almost looks like a wolf runs across. But
It's the Skinwalker.
it's thermal imaging, right? So thermal imaging, you can roll in and out. You can kind of like play with it to get it to like, you know what I'm saying? So
Yeah.
I don't think it was a wolf. It would never show you that detail. What it would show you is the cold spots or the hot spots, right? If you've looked at
Right.
that stuff. So there's a cold spot that just streaks across the screen. And when they all run out to the point, it streaks away.
Hmm.
And they're like, so that then they catch it again. They go out there with flashlights this time because they're like, all right, we're not going to do thermal. We're going to do naked eye flashlight spotlighting. And they spotlight it in the woods.
I need to go back and rewatch that. Oh, now I remember what you're talking about. Yeah, yeah, yeah. That was
Yeah.
crazy, man.
They spotted this thing in the woods, and I'll tell you what, they shined the lights on that thing, and something flickered and took off, man. And they got it on camera, and you could tell. Again, I mean, like Andy says, watch it enough, and you'll see. You could tell what's real and what isn't. And when they flip out and see that thing and start running, I mean, when hands start reaching for holsters, like it
That
gets
shit's legit.
yeah, like you see when dudes start, and then here's the other thing that shows you it's legit too. There's a couple. You have to pay attention, but I don't want to out it, right? But there's a couple people that don't move, like they're gone. They check out. They're like they're done.
Yep.
One of them was one of the security guys. You could tell he checks out for a second. He's like,
Yep.
this just, like we were fucking around here. Now some just ran across. Like now it got real.
Right.
Like, so two of them check out, man. And, they're just, but
It's
great.
but it's not like it is definitely not like well, I don't remember Ghost Adventures I think is the name of that paranormal show with Zach Baggins where they
Oh yeah, no.
overreact to fucking everything.
No, these people are here to find stuff. They're here to think. The working theory. I'm only on. Like I said, Andy's seen it all. I've only seen season 1 and 2. The working theory that they have going now is that it's some type of portal. That
Yes.
they're looking at a portal here. Um, and the one thing that I thought is, I wonder if throughout time, all these different like ceremonies, like the Jewish prayer ceremony, the Indian chanting, like all these things that caused this ranch to have reactions are part of one single story that was broken through the centuries. And if you play it all at once, because it does seem to both seem to elicit different sort of responses, but I wonder if they strung it together or tried to extrapolate similarities in the language and see if there's something in there. But I mean, there are those people are far smarter than me. I mean, I'm sure they've looked at all of that.
It's so weird, man. I may or may not have gone down a rabbit hole the other night on
Mhm.
on UFOs, aliens, the whole shebang, and now they're thinking they might not really be from outer space, but they're interdimensional. And Michio Kaku,
Yeah.
who's a very very famous physicist,
Yes,
quantum
trying to complete
physicist.
string theory. He's a professor at New York University.
Yeah, they're saying that there's up to 10 dimensions right now.
Is that what
That
Michio Kaku's saying?
Yeah. So, um, Who knows, man? Who knows if that's not one of the, like you said, a portal for one of these other dimensions, and that's where they're coming in and out of. I don't know, but
He's an interesting guy. It's funny you bring him up. I was talking about him this morning at the gas station.
hmm,
It's true.
really?
Because the gas station dude knows Michio Kaku, man. His wife's Japanese too, so
Oh, okay.
we shoot the breeze all the time, right? And we were talking about Michio Kaku, and I was telling him he wrote a book, right? A science fantastic, and it was awesome. It was divided into three parts: things we can do today, things we'll be able to do in 100 years, and things we can never do unless we discover new stuff.
Hmm.
So he's like, Doctor Who time travel, never going to do it until we discover new stuff.
I think
Lightsabers we could do right now.
I think we've discovered new stuff, but we're not admitting that we've discovered it.
Oh, that yes, of course, man. I mean, barring all that,
Yeah.
but like he was talking about things we could do in 100 years. Star Trek Invisible Shields. He said, but it wouldn't necessarily be like that. He said
Right.
what it would be, and what I thought was interesting was like his first chapter of the book kind of explains how a lot of what we're looking for is here. You're letting Hollywood ruin your perception.
Right.
Right? You know, we can have a fully functioning lightsaber as shown in Hollywood. Where it cuts through things, it swings. He said it would be plasma based. We could do it today. He's like, but it would take a truck to power it.
Yeah,
He's
that
like,
would
giant
suck.
cables would have to go. He's like, so it just would be impractical. He's like, but you can do it today. But he said the shield thing would be in 100 years, because right now when we look at the primary colors, we can only hide two. We can't hide the third. He said, but uh, or no, we can hide one. We can only hide one. They're figuring out how to hide the second. They've been able to make it disappear for a little bit, but they can't sustain it.
Huh.
And then they'll have to figure out how to hide the third. I used to know which colors, but it's in the book. He tells you which colors. He said one university has just recently figured out how to hide the second one. He said once they hide the third, he said then what you'll see is we will now be able to do the predator effect. He said where it bends light around, so
Yeah.
you'll see behind the person, but it will have that shimmer because it will bend around.
We're
He said,
closer than that than most people realize.
well, what he said was we would have I know what you're talking about. But what he said was we will have the software that'll be able to make it look flat. So like even though to your naked eye it may bend it around,
Mhm.
if you have the glasses on, the glasses will flatten the picture for you. To sort of allow you to see through if that's what you want, if that's what you want to do. If you want to see the shimmer, then you would remove the glasses. But what he was saying was, so in essence, you would build the ship out of this type of metal
Right.
and then just hide the metal and you could see through. So through a charge, that allows you to bend the light through to hide the color. He said so. That would be what it was. So you wouldn't raise the shields; they would always be up. You would basically lower the opaqueness. I thought
Yeah.
that was interesting.
That's pretty cool.
Yeah, and it makes a lot more sense.
Oh, heck yeah. Heck yeah. Mark says in the room, what about Bob Lazar and his stories that are continually being proven correct, even though the government keeps lying? I tell you, the one thing I've learned in over 3 decades of service to the government is I don't trust them for shit. And I believe Bob Lazar because you're right. Everything that
Yeah.
he said 30 plus years ago is now being proven correct.
Well, and the government would never admit it anyway, because in order to admit it, right? Were we talking about this last time when I said about cutting the funding? Was it you I was talking to about cutting the
Yeah,
funding?
I think
Yeah.
so.
Yeah. So the big thing about these guys is, if you admit that there's UFOs, then you admit that people have violated our airspace and you're impotent.
Yeah,
And you've told your enemies you're impotent. And you've told your enemies you don't know either. So right now everybody thinks you know, and it's a conspiracy and it's helping you. So
exactly.
why would you ruin that? you know? I mean, especially if you're if they're as grimy and slimy as we think they are, which they are, why would they come clean on this one? Which is why I don't understand why this isn't the biggest story in America. Because if it's a scam, it's the biggest scam, and we are spending. And I just want you to know, we spend trillions or not trillions, billions. We spend billions making sure people don't develop shit we're not aware of on this planet. So what are they doing with that money? Which is why I would call them in. I would call every one of them in, the heads of the intelligence agencies. If I were in charge today, I'd call every one of them in and say, you have 2 weeks to figure it out. Otherwise, what are we paying you for? We're shutting it down.
Well, that's how this whole thing started. It was an audit, and they couldn't track or trace where the money was going to,
Yeah. Oh yeah. Yeah.
and that's when this dude blew the whistle on the whole thing.
Well, and that's the thing. We spend billions making sure this doesn't happen, and it's happening, and we're okay with it. That's why I said that this is if this is a psyop, it's the biggest psyop ever, allowing us to think we don't know. So that's a story, okay?
Mhm.
If it's true that we are being visited, that's a story. Like I don't understand. Like there is a huge, huge story on either side, right? Why? And I mean, you got to who's what comedian? I forget what comedian who said 2021 was the wildest year ever, man. The government said there were aliens. Everyone was just like, yeah, it's cool, man. CIA admitted to knowing Kennedy was going to get shot, not doing anything. You know, we're all like, yeah, 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 man, yeah, they lie, those
Yeah,
bastards.
yeah. Nobody trusts the fucking government, man.
It's just, I mean, it's insane. It's just insane to me that no one's following this story. You know
Well,
that this is all relegated to backwater media.
if you
You know,
want to go down the conspiracy road, you could say it's because they're being controlled.
well, yeah. I mean, that's my point. Like, this is the biggest. Like the fact that it's not a story is the biggest story ever.
Yeah,
I mean, but you can't find anyone looking into anything on it except stuff, except platforms like ours, which are easily discredited.
right.
Right, man. You look at my browser history in the last 15 minutes, and you discredit my life. I'm just kidding. Did donkey shows and all kinds of shit.
But it's weird to me that within the last couple years, there's the sightings have been increased.
Yeah.
Weird. Oh, that's one. Did you hear about this whole Miami Mall thing?
Yes. Yeah. I brought that up last. Yeah. Yeah.
Wow, man. I
That's
don't.
insane.
Where are the security cameras? Where are the
Where's
the
the phone
dash
footage? Where's the
cams?
cell phone footage? Where's everything? People were held. I mean, again.
Where's the personal protective the
Yeah, the body cam footage.
yeah.
Where's any of it? Where's any of it? Where's any of it? Did you see? They asked. This is so funny, man. Right when you talk about lies and conspiracies, right? So the two pipe bombs have come up again, right? On January 6th, the two pipe bombs, right? Where
Hmm.
the plainclothes policeman notices them, then tells the police, the Secret Service, and the Secret Service just allow a group of kids to walk by, right? Because that's what you do when you know there's a bomb.
Yeah, yeah.
You don't tell the children cross. Oh, and they didn't go immediately remove it because they had to finish their sandwich, right? Like all this is testimony before Congress. They had the congressman on. He's like on today. He's like, this is absurd. This is absurd. We asked the guy, hey, why would somebody have a 1 hour egg timer on a 17-hour bomb?
Huh.
Oh yeah, we don't know.
Huh.
Yeah. Hey,
Huh.
why are you guys trying to hide the fact that Kamala Harris was in the building next to this bomb? So what the senator said is, you know, the best case scenario for these people is that they're so incompetent, they're lying to memory hold this so they don't look as bad, right? That they don't look bad. He goes, but really what I think is if J6 narrative didn't take, they were going to go with the pipe bomb. If nobody
Huh.
raided the Capitol, they were going to detonate one of these. But they went inside the Capitol, so there was no need for those. He goes, because they're not talking about, he goes, think about this. There was a pipe bomb in a building 20 feet away from the vice president of the United States that would have taken her out if it detonated. And that's not news. Someone tried to assassinate the vice president of the United States, but they're trying to keep quiet that she was there.
Uh-huh.
They're trying to keep quiet that the pipe bomb. He's like, this is insane. This whole pipe bomb thing is insane. And he said, the more you dig behind it, the more it's fed. The more it's fed planet. The more it's fed planet. 100 whole. He's like, this thing is ridiculous.
I'm gonna be honest with you. I didn't really pay attention hardly at all to the January 6th stuff. It just
Yeah. Well, the pipe bomb stuff is insane, man. And what the guy was saying, who reported on all this, he said, just so you know, they're using the pipe bomb as reasoning to help sentence all these people,
Hmm.
like as part of the terrorist. He goes, but they don't want to talk about the pipe bomb. They don't want to investigate the pipe bomb. He said 2 years into this, and 2 years into this, he talked to the lead agent in charge, who, by the way, was the lead agent in charge of the Gretchen Whitmer case that got moved because remember that case got thrown out because it was entrapment. He was the lead agent on that case, and
Shocking.
he got promotion and moved and became the lead agent on this case. They asked him, "Why didn't you check the cell phone data?" The cell phone company said it was corrupted at that time. Hey, there's 17 more angles of the camera. Why don't we have it? Oh, we can't find. We never really got it. Hey, what's the deal with the frame rate of the footage you turned over to us of the pipe bomber being at a rate that is 10 years outdated? No camera has anymore.
Damn.
No camera has this type of technology. You would have to special order this old technology. It's not even so why did you turn over footage at a frame rate that doesn't exist anymore?
Hmm.
You'd have to talk to the forensics. This whole pipe bomb thing is like the threat, like this senator saying this pipe bomb is one of the threads that will pull us back to, if we follow it. He goes, this is insane. He said the lead agents never talk to the people around the houses, never talk to car companies, never talk to anything. He's like, they just tried to bury it.
So I want to echo Mark's question. Do you believe it was a setup?
That's yes. That's what the senator's saying, or the congressman. The congressman is saying this is absolutely a setup. He said best case scenario is they're just so incompetent, they're just so Keystone Cop, they don't want to look bad. He said, but realistically, what it looks more and more like because of the level of purposeful neglect is that it looks like if the January 6th, if they never went in the Capitol, they were going to detonate one of these.
Damn.
He goes because the bomb doesn't work. They found it so nonchalant. He said he asked him. He said, "Hey, did you guys radio in, for a third and fourth bomb? Did you look for the fourth bomber? No. Were you sure there wasn't one? Yeah. How? Well, these things usually no, you can
So
stop.
when you hear and you see things like that, it really makes you wonder. I used to joke all the time about these people that said 911 was or 911 was a inside job,
Yeah.
and you're too crazy, man. No way, no way. But when you see shit like this, it really makes you kind of rethink things.
Well, you wonder like inside job and stuff. Did I tell you this? I don't think I ever told you this. So this is the craziest thing in the world while we're talking about terrorist thing and right. Did I tell you how I used to train martial arts with the guy who taught the World Trade Center bombers?
No,
I didn't tell you that.
no.
Yeah, yeah. So I told someone else this. They were like BS, 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 and then I posted the article, and then I posted the yearbook picture. I said that's me and him, and he's like, "Oh, I can't believe it." I said, "Yeah, man. Yeah, I used to train martial arts with the guy that taught the World Trade Center bombers."
Wow. Not sure I'd
I
bring
had
that up a
totally,
lot.
I had totally forgotten about that. The FBI talked to my dad because my dad asked me, "Hey, all of us, not just me, right? Not just me." But my dad said, what the hell are you?" This was when I was training when I went away to military high school at Carson
Oh,
Long, right in Carlisle,
mm-hmm.
Carlisle, PA,
Been there.
right where you do Umpire
Shout out
Academy,
to Billy.
right where you do Umpire Academy, right? That's where we
Yep.
trained. And he was like, what's the deal with that?" I was like, "Well, I mean, we do this." He's like, "Is he a nice guy?" And I was like, "Yeah." He's like, "Is he like, does he ever like I don't know, like my dad was like
Espouse
asking me like he's ever
political
like touched
views.
me or no, like touched me or
Oh,
something." Like, I
God.
was like, "No." I don't
That's
think.
that's weird.
I was like, it's always three fingers in, right? Anyway, no, so
Excuse me, you're fake news. It's
yeah.
four.
So right, so anyway, I was like, "No," and he was like, "Well, the FBI called, and they just wanted to know." I told him I didn't think anything. I mean, I told him I thought it was okay, but I just thought I should ask. I said, "No, everything's good." The FBI called, and they're like, "Yeah," and they're like, "Is he still there?" I said, "Well, they have a new guy," and he came back the following year.
Hmm.
And I asked him about it, and he told us, and he told me, what he told me was, they came and they wanted to learn how to survive, and he has a school, martial arts things, and they wanted to learn how to defend themselves and live off the land, like and how to survive. He said, so I took him out in the woods, taught him how to survive, taught him how to live off the land. And one of them, he's like, when they arrested him, one of them said they threw some shit in my lake, man. He's like, so they
Hmm.
came and he's like, I didn't know that that's what they were gonna do. He goes, if I'd known that, I'd have put him in the lake myself.
Yeah, how
You
can
know,
you fault that guy? You
yeah,
can't.
he was well because he's Muslim, and
Oh,
this is the early '90s,
okay.
like the bruise on the forehead type Muslim, right? Like he prays, like
It's
yeah.
funny as shit.
I'm serious, man, because he told us he would teach us these things. He was a really cool dude, man. Like you could ask him questions and he would not get offended, right? You know how today's world you can't ask anybody a question,
Right.
right? They go nuts. You know, like what's that bruise on your forehead? He says from praying 5 times. He said true Muslims have to, we bow our head to the ground, fully to the ground. We touch the ground, and so he had a bruise on his forehead right here. He said that a good and loyal Muslim will have this bruise because they touch the ground with their head. So he would talk to us about things like that. So anyway, he just said, yeah, man. He's like, I didn't know they were gonna do any of that crap, man. So they said they were gonna they said they threw something in my lake. He's like, so they came, man, took all my stuff, dredged my lake. He's like, I couldn't go home, couldn't do anything. Like he's like, they searched everything, man. I seized my accounts, everything. I couldn't do anything
Damn.
while they sorted it out. He said, man, they still probably think I did it, those bastards. But he
Probably.
said, I didn't know they were gonna. He goes, I didn't know that. He's like, they didn't. They
How could he, man? It's like that's like blaming the pilot school that gave them their pilot's license.
yeah.
You know, how could you there's no way, man. You know way
Well,
you could know.
the pilot thing, there are signs like they didn't ask how to land, like they didn't seem at all interested.
Right. You know what I'm saying though.
I know, I
You
know,
can't
though,
hold
I
the
know.
whole institution.
That's what I thought. But what was funny? Here's what's funny though. But this is what is funny, right? And this is what I found with this generation. This young generation when it play these games online, right? You know, they're so used to living these false lives, right? And accusing each other. They're not used to people who come in, and I'm not lying, man. I was trained martial arts by the person who taught the people who bombed the World Trade Center. I was trained.
Yeah.
Okay. Here's the article. I posted the article of him. There's an article because his son went on to play college football, and there was an article about it hanging over the son,
Hmm.
like the shadow of the dad's
Yeah.
reputation hanging over the son.
Definitely.
So I posted that, and then I posted a picture of the yearbook of him and me. In the yearbook in the martial arts class.
Uh-huh.
I said, there we are. I said, and I said, I don't lie because I come from a generation where the internet was new and I could be talking to my neighbor. I might get hit in the mouth for this.
Right.
Like, I don't want to get busted out. This internet thing, I don't want to get busted out and have a reputation in the world as a liar, right? I didn't know nobody knows who you are. Right.
Right.
Like in my mind, every one of you can find me in 2 seconds.
Yeah, there were consequences.
Right. And I feel like you can find me in 2 seconds, right? Even though I might call myself, White Stallion 597. Right. Right. Even though I might call myself White Stallion 597. I just to me that might as well be my first and last name, right? You'll figure out who I am. So I don't go online and make false claims. Okay, I don't go online and it's not my style of humor to say, hey, remember the World Trade Center bombing in 92 or 5 or when in 95 or when I forget when it was, but
Oh, the first one.
I think the first one in 92. Yeah, not the guys that smacked the towers. No, the guy that bombed the parking lot
I
when I
think
was
it
in high school.
was 90. I want to say 97.
No, it couldn't have been 97. No. I'll look it
Gotta
up. I think
be,
it was
yeah.
95. Let's see.
Look at
World
that.
Trade
95 to
Center
I'm pretty sure it was
bombing.
maybe late 96.
I was in high school 92 to 95. 93 happened in 93.
93.
So that's what I was trying to say though, like is I don't make that stuff up, man. It's not my style of humor to say, oh yeah, the guy that trained the bombers for the World Trade Center taught me martial arts in 1993.
Right.
Two guys walked into a bar. The third one taught me martial arts and also the World Trade Center bombers. but what a small world, man. What a small world, right?
Yeah, it's ridiculous, man. It reminds me of a bad dad joke. A pirate walks into a bar. He's got a ship's wheel hanging off of his outside of his crank, and the bartender looks at me. He says, "Hey, you know you got a ship's wheel in your shorts?" I said, "Aye, it's been driving me nuts all day."
Terrible.
It's horrible.
Well, Andy, do you have a charity?
I don't actually.
I don't either, man. We can. We went over today. We can add
Yeah,
two charities next week.
yeah, we'll catch it on the flip side. Man, we didn't get to talk about everything we wanted to talk about, but there's always another show. But hey, I want to thank everybody, Carl, Mark,
Thanks for listening.
everybody
Thanks
for
for
coming in
participating.
and yeah, and putting in your 2 cents. We don't give a shit about it, but thanks for putting it in anyway. Um, Heroes Care, yeah, we've mentioned them already, but hey, Heroes Care, yeah, it's a great organization. It's a nonprofit. What they do is they get the returns and whatnot and donations from Amazon. They take them in and they distribute them to needy veterans, to active duty families, especially those that are deployed, not only to the service member, but to the dependents as well. And it's a great organization. They do so much for veterans. If you can check them out, and they're local here in St. Louis, in the St. Louis area. So if you can check them out, do so on the website. If you can help them in any way, they'll take donations and whatnot. Great, great organization. So once again, Heroes Care. Lou, why don't you? I'll give you the last word. Why don't you take us out?
No, hey, I appreciate it. Hey, thanks everybody for listening. If you do like the show, obviously all the subscriptions we can get help us. We'll keep bringing our content on a weekly basis, and see you next week.
Bye bye.